Hey, David.
Hi,
How are you doing today?
I'm great.
You like to be called David or Dave?
David, please.
Me too. I've always liked to be called David. Um, okay. So how's your math been this week?
Um, Pretty good.
Okay.
Um,
You know what you want to
for
go over?
me, what?
Do you know what you want to go over?
Um, there's a couple questions on page 69 that she wants us to review for
Okay.
a coming up quiz.
Okay. So do I just type in 69 and just go to 69 on this?
Yeah, I think you're on the wrong one.
Oh, it's not big ideas? Math?
No, it's big ideas math, but,
Do I need
the
to
only
go
problem
somewhere else? Where do I start? This is what I had saved.
uh,
Do I need to go to
yeah,
home?
okay, 1 second.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure you should be, I think that it defaults it to, yeah, you're on the wrong one. Go to students again.
Where is that? I see. Oh, students. Okay.
Yeah, click on that.
Okay.
Then you were on Common Core 2014.
Uh-huh.
That's like the default thing.
Uh-huh. What do we want?
And we want just regular Common Core.
Common Core. There we go. All right. With the accelerated? The middle one?
What was that?
Which book do I click on?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, the audio is breaking up a little bit. Here, let me close out. If you have anything open on your start bar, why don't you close it out? Don't close out GoToMeeting, but close everything else out. GoToMeeting tends to be a real hog of your processing chip. So it wants all the resources it can get. Can you hear me okay now?
Uh, Not really.
What else can I do here to make this better? Let me try one thing.
Okay. Wait, no, I can hear you now.
Okay, if it becomes a problem, what I'll do is close out GoToMeeting. I will retext you a new meeting ID number, and we'll just go through that process. Okay?
Okay, great.
So if all of a sudden you can't hear me and you're wondering what's going on, I'm going to close out the GoToMeeting and restart it again, and I'll resend you a text.
Okay.
But until then, we'll see if this works. So I need to click on the accelerated, right?
Yep.
And then
And then chapter 2.
chapter 2,
Yep.
page 69. I can't click right. Oh, 2.1 to 2.3.
Yep. The
So
quiz. Can you see my mouse?
no, I see the quiz though over here
Yeah.
on the left. I can make you the presenter. I do have that ability. I have to toggle a couple of things, and if that's ever needed, I'm happy to do that. But usually it seems that we leave it on my screen most of the time.
Yeah.
If if the problem was graph something and I wanted to see you graph it, and if you had a digital drawing tablet or something, we could do that. But most of my students don't have a digital drawing tablet, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put it on their screen. Okay. Where do you want
Okay,
to?
so
You pick where you want to start here. I don't know if you have problems with any or all of these, or just certain ones?
From 10 down. So
Okay. Okay. So we're multiplying minus 9.4 times a minus 4.7. Are you supposed to do this manually with a calculator, without?
Usually she wants us to do manually.
Okay.
She said that
I was going to say, there's not much point in asking this if you're just going to put it into a calculator. So let's manually multiply by minus 4.7. Is this the way you do it? The way you're taught to do it?
Yep.
Okay. You tell me the digits to write and I'll write them.
Okay. So 4 times 7 is 8. 28. You would put the 8 under there, and then the 2 over the 9.
Okay.
And then 7 times 9 is 63, plus 2 is 65.
Okay.
And then you start a new column and put the 0 in front of that.
Okay.
And then 4 by 4 is 16, so you would put the 1 over the 9. And then 4 times 9 equals 37.
36 plus the 1 is 37.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I know. Okay.
Then you add those together. You get 8. 1, carry the 1. I got 4,418.
Where's the decimal point go?
The decimal point goes, it gets 44.18.
Okay. In other words, there was one number to the right of it here and one number to the right of it here, so we need 2 numbers to the right of it with our answer. So that decimal point's going to go right there. And that's a ballpark number. If we wanted to know approximately what this was, we could multiply 4 times 9. It should be in the neighborhood of 36. So that tells us that it's not 441 and it's not 4.41. I always, my whole life, I've loved to do ballpark checks just to make sure that I'm not off by a factor of 10.
Yeah.
Okay? What's the sign on this number? Positive or negative?
It would be positive because negative 10 to negative equals a positive.
Right. Okay. And decimal form is okay? Yeah, it says write fractions in simplest form, but this is going to give us a decimal sum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we have 11. Give me a second really quick. Let me close this door.
I'm sorry, what? Oh.
I just had to close the door.
Okay. First of all, what do we do with improper fractions? Or these are proper fractions. What do we need? So the first step is to turn them into improper fractions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is 8 and 5/9 equal to?
8 and 5/9. Well, you would multiply 8 by 9.
Okay, 72.
And get 72 plus 5, and that would equal 77 ninths.
Okay. Now what about the negative 1 and 4/7? Turn that into an improper fraction?
One sec. Okay, you would get 13. Yeah, 13.
No, use the same way we did before. Multiply 1 by 7 and add 4.
Oh, 11. Sorry.
So that's minus 11/7. Now, how do we do division problems involving fractions?
You switch the, you find the reciprocal of the last fraction, and then
Of the divisor. The divisor is what's on the bottom, the denominator. In other words, what we really have here is 77 ninths divided by 11 sevenths.
Yeah.
Okay? So we flip the denominator and multiply.
You find those.
And the sign stays the same when you flip something. So now, what do?
You wouldn't normally do this, but you can cross-reduce on this one.
Yes, you actually would normally do that. That's the best way to solve these. In other words, you don't really, you can multiply 77 times 7 and multiply 9 times 11, and then you'd have a big number divided by a big number. But the much better way to do this math, if you're doing it manually, is to do exactly what you're talking about doing. Let's reduce the size of all the numbers.
Yeah, what I meant as you wouldn't usually do this is because usually it's not like that, where you can cross-reduce.
Oh, where you can do it? Okay.
Yeah.
And this one you can. So what can I do?
You can turn 77 into 7 and 11 into 1.
Which is dividing the top and the bottom by 11. In other words, what I'm really doing is dividing the top by 11 and that bottom by 11. And I'm allowed to do that with any fraction. I'm allowed to divide by the same number. Okay, so now I've got minus 7 ninths times minus 7 over 1. What's that equal to?
That equals to negative 49 over 9.
Okay. It's positive because we got a negative times a negative. So that turns it positive.
Forgot to add that.
Forgot
to write down the negative.
Yeah.
On one of them.
And can that be simplified?
Well, you can turn it into a mixed number, but it can't be simplified.
Okay, so you can turn it into a proper fraction, but it doesn't say that we have to do that. I don't know, maybe you know.
Yeah, she said that we never have to.
You don't have to turn that into, how would you turn that into a proper fraction, a mixed number?
You would divide 49 by,
Yep.
the way I do it is that you find the closest multiple under 49.
Good. Which is what in this case?
In our case, it would be 40, let me think. I can't.
Well, let's do this by the way I do it is always process of elimination. Can 9 go in there 5 times?
Yeah.
Can 9 go in there 6 times?
No.
So our big number is 5.
Yeah, so 45.
Okay.
So that would mean it would be 1 and 4 ninths.
5 and 4 ninths, right. Okay, good. Do you just want to go through these one by one, or do you want to jump around to ensure that we get all of them covered? How many do we have to do?
The page.
Just this page?
Yeah.
Okay, well let's just do them all then.
Okay, so now we do 84, negative 8.4 divided by 2.1.
How are we going to do this one?
Well, one sec, let me write it down.
We got different ways to do it because we can do it by long division. We could even convert it to fractions and do it the way we just did the last problem, but that seems like a lot of work considering that long division works pretty good. So for long division,
You
I
do
don't
20.
care about this. I don't care about the sign at this point. I'm not going to complicate the matter by incorporating the sign. I'm going to wait and come up with an answer and then decide whether it's positive or negative based on this.
Yeah.
Okay? So 2.1 goes into 8.4 how many times?
2.1 goes into 8.4 4 times.
Exactly. If there's no remainder, that's it. That's the answer. And since I was really dividing 2 into 8, my decimal point stays right there. And we know the number should be 4 and not 40 and not 0.4. But it should be exactly 4 because 8 divides by 2 4 times. So now let's put the plus or minus sign on it.
It would be negative.
Because negative times a positive is always a negative, or negative divided by a positive is always a negative.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the way my teacher always taught us this is that she would have us look at it. How do I? Okay, so she would always have us move the decimal point in 2.1 over to the right.
Okay.
And then
Move this one also.
Yeah, just pretty much take off the decimal. And as many decimals as there were, we would just take that many. And let's say if it was 2.1 divided by 8.41, we would put 84.1 because we already moved the decimal over.
Yeah, that's fine. That's just little tricks. You can do it however you want. All of those little tricks still add up that when I get done with the problem, I'm going to look and make sure I'm in the ballpark, that I'm not off by a magnitude of 10. And when I come up with 4, even if I don't know where the decimal point goes, I can see that 8 divided by 2 is plus 4. So I know that it's 4 and not 40 and not 0.4.
Yeah.
So I don't get overly concerned about how to handle the decimal point because I can usually figure it out. But any of those tricks that your teacher uses are fine. You know, you can move it there as long as you do it the same with the bottom and the top. That's what matters. Okay.
Yeah.
And how about number 13? The value of stock A changes by minus $3.68. The value of stock B changes by that. Which stock had the greater loss? Explain.
Stock E had the greater loss because negative 3.72 is farther away from 0. It's farther to the left from 0 than negative 3.68 on the number 6.
Correct. There's 3.68. There's 3.72. So whichever one is the greatest distance from 0, that means that was the greatest loss. This one only lost $3.68. This one lost $3.72.
I'm really sorry, but what did you say? You're not coming out.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't say anything important on that last thing. Okay, let's look at the parasailing question.
Okay, so a parasail is 200.6 feet above the water. After 5 minutes, the parasail is at 120.8 feet above the water. What is the change in height of the parasail?
Okay. What are we going to do?
Okay, so a parasail. So you would subtract.
Okay. When you're subtracting, you just bring the decimal point down in line with all the decimal points. What's this number here?
The number, okay, so you would have to turn 2 into 1, put a 9 over the first 0 and the second 0, and put a 1 over the 6, and then you would be able to do 16 minus 8 equals 8, and then 9 minus 0 equals 9, 9 minus 2 equals 7, then 1 minus 1 equals 0.
Okay. And I don't really need that leading 0. So the answer is the change in height is 79.8 feet. But it's really a negative 79.8 feet.
What?
Well, the reason is that when you measure something on the vertical, up is a positive measurement, down is a negative measurement.
Oh,
Like
no, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry. When you said what, you were really saying what, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know whether they want this answer to be negative 79 or positive 79.
They'll probably want it to be negative 79.
Because that directs it. The negative tells you that it's less.
Yeah.
If it was positive 79, maybe the thing went up to 280.4 feet, and it still changed height by 79.8, but it would have been above, not below. So the sign is kind of important in designating which direction it's changed by.
Yeah.
In the same way, this stock, even though it lost minus this was still a bigger loss than this, even though this number is a smaller number than this. So I think what they're trying to get you to see here is that it's not just the magnitude. In other words, it's not just one number minus another number. Is that height change down or is it up? And down is typically used with a negative sign and up with a positive sign. But I'm not positive that that's what your teacher is going to do on that problem.
She probably will, because that's what she usually does.
Okay, so you think that the answer would be minus 79.8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Negative 79.
Right. Yeah, okay. Just my different terminology. It can be negative or minus. And in fact, I've heard some students say opposite. Opposite 79.8.
Oh, that's weird.
Which it is kind of
Never heard
weird.
that before.
No, I didn't particularly like it when I heard it. Maybe the guy went to a school in a different state and moved to Colorado, because I was a little stunned the first time I heard it. And he was like a freshman in high school or a sophomore in high school, and he was still using negative or opposite. That's what he's using, not negative, but opposite. Opposite 79.8. So there's lots of ways to refer to that. Okay, a table shows the statistics of a running back in a football game. How many total yards did he gain?
Okay, so, well, first you add okay, so I'm going to convert these all into decimals because I find it easier.
That's fine.
So it would be negative 0.85.
Okay, negative 8.5.
Yeah. Plus negative 2.25.
Okay.
And then you do that.
Okay, what's that add to?
Negative 10.75.
Okay. Then we add the positive numbers.
Yep.
Oh, and there's two of those.
23 plus 42.5.
Okay.
And you would get 65.5.
Okay, and now we're going to add that to this number here. How do you add those two numbers?
you subtract 10.75 from 65.5.
Correct, because I can actually put these in either order. I can put either one on top, and if I put this one on bottom, it just becomes a simple subtraction problem. So what is that? So let me put it on bottom, so it makes it easier to subtract. So now do that problem right there. How do we do this?
So you would turn 5 into 4, and then make it 10 minus 5.
And the first thing we really kind of want to do is add this extra 0.
Yeah, that's what I meant, and the other 5 instead of.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it makes this 4
Make that
and
one 4.
10.
That.
Okay.
And then 10 minus 5 is 5. 4 minus 7, you would have to carry a 10 from the other 5 and turn that into 14. You get 7. Then 4 minus 0 is 4. And 6 minus 1 is 5.
Okay.
So in total, you get 54.75.
Okay, good. And then you know, of course, that if you wanted to check your math, add those two numbers together and you'll get the original number you started with, 65.5.
Yep.
Always has to be, and it's probably worth checking if you have time, if you're taking a test or something, just to make sure you did it right.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so late fees.
You were overcharged $4. You were overcharged on your cell phone bill.
That is freaky.
Cell phone bill. 3 months in a row, company will add negative $4.
How do we get that
Okay,
off?
I don't know what it just did, but it's talking.
No, I know. It did that last session too, don't you remember? It was like,
Oh, yeah.
I think when I set my cursor over it, it set off the audio.
Oh.
But we certainly don't need any extra audio considering the audio problems we're having already. So
Yeah. Whoops. Sorry about that.
that's okay. So let's see. You were overcharged $4.52 on
You were overcharged $4.52 on your cell phone bill.
I'm so sorry. Just keep
Oh,
on doing-
no need to apologize. I think it's kind of funny.
$4.52 to your next bill. For each month, you were overcharged. How much will be added to your next bill?
Is there a way you can mute it?
I don't think so. I don't know what's causing it to go off. It may be going off on your end. Does that sound coming from my computer or yours? Do you have this pulled up on your computer also?
Yeah.
Why don't you not minimize it or something so there's no way your cursor can be on this problem? Although I'm not convinced that's what's going on. That sounded awfully clear. It sounded like it was coming from my computer. But that's okay. I think we're good now.
Yeah. Okay, so
Okay, so what's the answer to this?
they would add 20. Okay, so your next bill for each month, you were overcharged.
You'll notice they say they're going to add a negative amount. What that really means is they're going to subtract this amount from your bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what was the total amount you were overcharged?
the total amount I was overcharged by my phone company. So you have to multiply 4.25 by 3.
Okay. What's
and
that?
you get 6. Okay, 3 by
3 by 5? 3 times 5 is what?
I got 3 by 5 is 15, and then you carry the 1 and get 13.56.
Okay, because there's 2 decimal spots right there, so we got to have 2 down here. Okay, so what's the answer?
So $13.56 will be added to the next bill.
Actually, a negative 13.50.
Right.
Because I could say they're going to subtract $13.56 from my next bill, but the question says how much will be added to your bill. Since they've said added, we have to make sure we put that negative sign in there. Because if we don't, they're going to add $13.56 to our bill, and that's not what we want. So that negative sign is critical on this problem here, and makes me believe even more now that on 14 we definitely needed the negative sign. They're going for that negative sign being a direction in these problems.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I only see one problem. We're running out of material before the end of the hour.
Yeah, we could since we don't have a test right now, we could go back and do the problems that I haven't done for homework.
Okay.
Because
where's that? How do I go back to that?
Click on Chapter 2 to the left of Quiz 1.
Okay.
And then just do 2.3.
Okay. Let's see. We want to get down to the exercises. Tell me where the exercises begin here. Here we go.
So just hang on.
Okay. Now there are approximately 50 exercises here, 54, and we have about a half hour. So you might want to jump around. We might not want to start at 1 and go on.
Yeah.
Why don't you pick and choose, and pick hard ones. Pick ones that you're not sure you know how to do.
So I know that I'm really good. Actually, I think that I might want to practice a different unit because I know that I was having trouble with just adding and subtracting fractions.
Okay, let's go to that. Because this looks like it's more about multiplying fractions, and that's much easier to do.
Yeah.
Adding and subtracting fractions is far harder than multiplying. So let's go back to adding and subtracting rational numbers. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's have you pick from some of these. I mean, I'm perfectly happy to pick. If you don't want to pick, I can certainly pick difficult ones. It probably makes sense for you to do the most difficult one. Why don't you let me pick?
Yeah.
Okay.
I prefer that.
What's number 4? Do that one in your head.
Number 4 would be 4.
4 what?
Actually, it would be 1/3.
Very good.
Because it'd be 4, and then you reduce.
Number 5. Let's do number 5.
Okay, so you would need to find a common denominator.
What is it?
14
Okay.
is the smallest one.
Okay, so I don't need to change that fraction. What do I need to do to this fraction?
You need to multiply 2 by 2 and 7 by 2 to get 4 over 14.
Now we have a common denominator. We can operate on the numerators. What do we get?
You add those together, and you get 13 over 14. And you can't reduce that or make it a mixed number.
hold on, that's a minus 9 and a plus 4.
I keep forgetting to write the negative signs down. So that would be negative 5 over 14.
Okay, and you still can't reduce that. Okay. Let's try number 6.
Okay. So 15 over 4.
Tell me what your strategy is.
So, first things first, you turn 4 1/3 and make it an improper fraction.
Okay, what is that fraction?
That fraction would be 13/3, I believe.
Minus 13/3?
Yeah. Jeez, what is with me today? I can't. Yeah.
Okay, now what?
And then you would find the common denominator of the two, and that would be 12.
Okay.
So you would multiply 15 by 13.
Not by 13.
By 3.
Okay.
Get 45.
Uh-huh.
So 45 over 12
Okay.
plus, then you would multiply 13 over 4.
By 4, okay.
Then I got 52.
Okay.
So it would be 45 twelfths plus negative 52 twelfths.
Okay, what's that?
And then let me check. So 52, negative 52 plus 45
Okay.
equals 7.
Negative 7? In other
Negative
words, the way you do these is you subtract them, but then you put the sign of the bigger number. In other words, if I had minus 45 plus 52, I still subtract those, but the sign of the bigger number is plus. So it would be a plus 7. But in this case, it's 45 plus a negative 52. So I still subtract the two numbers to get 7, and the sign I put it is from the bigger number, negative.
Yeah. So it would turn out as negative 7 over 12.
Okay.
And that's our answer.
Good. Okay. Let's see if I can find another hard one here. Let me scan these. Okay, I know you know how to do 7 and 8. What's the answer to 9?
Answer to 9. You just add them together. Oh, wait, no. No, you do not add them.
You subtract them because one of them is negative.
Yeah. Negative 0.9.
Good. And then you put the negative sign on it because the bigger number has the negative sign. All right. 11. 12.48 plus a negative 10.636. And maybe let's talk about this now. I can go ahead and turn that into a straight negative.
Yeah.
Instead of a plus. Whenever you have a plus together with a minus, get rid of one of them and turn it into a minus. Get rid of the plus. The plus just confuses the issue. So how do we do this subtraction? This is kind of similar to one we did earlier.
One moment. So you add a 0 to the end of 48.
Okay.
And then since you can't subtract 0 from 6, 6 from 0, you would turn 8 into 7 and carry the 10 over to the 0.
Okay.
Get 4, and then 7 minus 3 is 4. You carry it and get 8 point. I got 1.844.
Okay, good. The only difficulty of that problem was this had 3 digits after the decimal point, and this had 2, which means you had to add that 0. It normally isn't there. Okay. Well, let's see here. Let's do 15.
Okay.
15.
And the things that have most problems with are fractions.
Okay. This is a good one then.
So,
What's the first step?
so the first thing is to turn the, if there's 2 minuses next to each other, it's always a it turns itself into a plus.
Okay.
And so,
Now what?
now you have a common denominator, which would be 18, and then, so you'd get 9 over 18 plus 10 over 18, and you would get 1/18.
Okay, very good. Let me make one up and give it to you.
Okay.
What's the common denominator?
The common denominator is 24.
Right. Let's just go through that process. We start with the biggest number, and then we start adding multiples or increments of that. So 8 doesn't work. Does 16 work? No. 3 doesn't go into 16. Does 24 work? Yes. So that's how we get a common denominator when we have 3 terms. And we can't just multiply all 3 numbers together. That would be a common denominator. It just wouldn't be the least common denominator. In other words, I can actually use 96 as a common denominator, which is 3 times 4 times 8. I could turn everything into 96ths. But that would be using a much bigger common denominator than I need to, since I can do it with 24ths. I don't care about the answer. I just wanted to make sure you knew how to do it. Okay. Let's see. So I'm trying to find something that would give you, let's look at 16.
Okay, so you would turn -5 into -5 over 1.
Okay, that doesn't accomplish much.
But it does make it kind of easier.
Okay.
And then you would make it 15 over 3.
Okay. In other words, it shows you that you need a common denominator.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what?
And so that would make it -20 over 3.
Good. You don't have problems with that. A lot of people do.
I remembered to say negative this time.
Well, yeah. When I say a lot of people have problems with this, it's like if I said, what is this? Half the people on the street would not be able to give you the correct answer to this problem. No fooling. The reason they get confused is because these two dashes mean different things. This means a negative sign, goes with the 7. This means subtraction. So the way we solve subtraction problems is to turn them into addition problems. And now we have negative 7 plus negative 9. That's easy, minus 16.
Yeah,
But,
the way I used to have a teacher, and the way he made us remember it, that just present, but if there's a negative number at the beginning of the equation, just pretend there's a 0.
Oh, so in other words, do this.
Yeah, they would just add a 0.
And now that turns that into the subtraction sign.
Yeah.
Now they both mean subtraction, and you're right. That would make it easier to understand.
And I remember it.
But I kind of like to tell people that turn all your subtraction problems into addition problems. It'll make them easier. Let's look at 25 real quick. 2 1/6 minus a minus 8/3 minus a minus 4 7/9.
So, first thing is you turn them into addition.
All of them. In other words, there's the subtraction. I'm going to make it addition and change the sign on what's being subtracted. This is the subtraction. I'm going to make it addition and change the sign on what's being subtracted. So now, how do I do this easily?
Okay, so you find the first, you find the common denominator.
Okay, what's that?
Which is 18.
It's actually less than that.
Well, if you're adding all of them, it would be 18, but for just the first two, it would be 12. No, it would be 6.
It'd be, oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Okay, you were adding all of them. That's where you got 18. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, are we going to turn this into an improper fraction, or are we going to leave it as a proper fraction?
Turn it into an improper fraction.
I actually think it makes more sense to leave it as a proper fraction, and I'll show you why. So how many 18ths is this?
So 1/6 is 3/18.
Okay. How many 18ths is this?
8/3 is 48/18. Oh, I see now.
In other words, we're going to handle just the fractions and carry forth the big numbers. So add this, this, and this. What do you come up with?
You add all of that. Let me write it down on my notebook paper really quick. So 3 plus 48 plus 14 equals 5. No. 65/18.
Okay. And then we carry forth the 2 and the 4 as 6.
And get 6 and 65/18.
Now that's not a very pretty answer because we kind of have it, this is a mixed fraction and this is still a mixed number. So we want to simplify this. Let's simplify. We need to reduce the 65/18 to something.
Okay, so 65, so,
Divide 18 into 65.
okay.
How many times does it go?
18 goes into 65, not 4 times, 3 times.
Okay. 3 times 18 is?
54.
And 65 minus 54?
Is 11.
So this becomes 3 and 11/18.
Yeah.
So now we have 6 and 65/18 equals 6 plus 3 and 11/18 equals 9 and 11/18. Notice that was, there's other ways to do this. We could certainly turn this into an improper fraction and turn this into an improper fraction. But notice what happens if we do that. We end up with much bigger numbers everywhere. In other words, this is going to be like 86/18. This is going to be like 39/18. So then we're going to have to add 39, 48, and 86. And we just, in general, end up having to do arithmetic on bigger numbers, and that always means there's a greater risk of making mistakes.
Yeah.
So part of the goal in math is to try to do your math so you're less inclined to make mistakes. And that's why I said that it is much better to cancel if I have something like 77 11ths times 7/9 rather than multiplying 77 times 7 and dividing all those big numbers. Let's reduce it like you suggested, and now the problem becomes really easy. So simplifying before you multiply or add is usually the way to go. Or I should say, not simplifying. Keep your numbers as low as possible, which is what I tell everybody who I'm tutoring for the ACT and the SAT test. Anybody taking tests that's going to have to do arithmetic, always try to keep your numbers low if you have a choice. You don't always have a choice, but when you do have a choice, you should do it. All right. That problem came from down here. We have 5 minutes. Do you want to pick one or two?
Sure. Let's have...
Oh, we got
Okay, there's another thing.
got variables here.
Oh, okay.
Let's try some of that algebra. Let's definitely do some of the algebra. What's 34?
30...
Yeah,
Oh.
do that one in your head.
I thought you meant, like, what is 34, not what's
No.
34th question, and
No.
I got confused. Okay, so first you would subtract 4x from 8x and get 4x.
Okay.
And then 4x minus 6x equals negative 2x.
Okay. The other way to do that is the same way you did that other arithmetic problem, which is to handle all your negatives first. In other words, I got a negative 4x and a negative 6x. That makes negative 10x. Add 8x, we get the same negative 2x. That's just preference. I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go term by term in order, though. If it's easier to go out of order, sometimes that's easier to do the math. About 36. What is minus 4a minus a over 3?
That would be 3 and 2a over 3?
No, this is a common denominator. This is a common denominator problem.
Oh.
So what's the common denominator going to be?
3.
This is where when you put the 1 under it, you saw it easier.
Oh, okay, so 3 would be our common denominator.
Okay.
And then it'd be negative 12a minus a.
So what's this answer?
That would be negative 13a over 3.
Good. Your arithmetic skills are pretty good. They're not great, and anybody's arithmetic skills can always use improving. I can tell you something, though, that for all the math you're going to be doing over the next 4 years, algebra, geometry, trigonometry, pre-calc, if you can get your arithmetic skills double what they are right now, it will come in so handy for you, I just can't hardly emphasize it enough.
One sec, my mom just entered the room.
That's okay. That's fine.
Okay.
So is all I'm saying is that even though they let you use calculators and stuff, one of the really, really good skills to have is being able to do this stuff in your head fast and accurate. And I'm not talking being able to multiply 35 by 13. I'm talking about being able to do 9 times 7 quickly and 100% accurately. Or being able to divide 36 by 12 instantly. Things like that. That will only help you if you can improve your skills in that regard.
Okay.
Okay? And there's various ways to get better at that. There's all over the internet, there's flashcards. Just look up digital flashcards and you'll have 100 choices. And there are lots of free apps that you can get for, if you have a smartphone, you can get free apps that are like digital flashcards. You know what I mean by flashcard?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you still use them these days or not, but when I was a kid, we'd have flashcards, and the problem would be on one side, the answer would be on the other, and we would just do drills, and we'd spend like an hour doing nothing but flashcards. But the one thing that resulted in that was I got really good at arithmetic. And being really good at arithmetic is a very valuable skill to have, even in the age of the calculator. It's a very valuable skill to have. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Let's call it a session. And did you have a chance to look at the recording of the other session that I put up?
Not yet. I never got its name.
Let me show you how to do it real quick here before we log off. I'm going to go to my website. Okay, there was a special link that I sent you, and to find it, just click on any other link and then go fill in that, change that number to a 91. In other words, if that says id91.html, that's the right page. It's got you and your sister's name up top. I hope you don't mind if I put both of your recordings on the same page. And to play it, that's last week's. If I push play, it's just like any YouTube file. It'll play. That's the sound from there. And if I want to move it halfway through, I can fast forward it like that. I can rewind it if I want to review a session or something about a session we had. I can start it over again. These can be pretty handy. But that's the way you do it. And here, let me copy this link, put it into my GoToMeeting window. You see that link? Can you read that in the chat room?
In the chat, let me open it up.
Open it up, hit the plus sign next to the chat. And now click on that link.
It's closing right when I click it.
Really? Doesn't let you click on it, huh? Okay, well anyway, that's the link you want to go to see those recordings if you ever need to. That should be a clickable link if you go into the chat window, but I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm not looking at it from your end, so I can't be certain of that on what you're seeing. But I did send you an email, and you can always go back to that email, and that email has the link in it, and you can click directly on it.
Okay.
Okay? All right, David. I will talk to you at 4:30 next week. Have a good week. Bye-bye.